This new Hunter Arc build jolts everything. You'll be running around in endgame PvE Master and Grandmaster content, just completely destroying everything with infinite abilities. You'll have infinite melees and dodges that you can chain between, which will jolt and blind targets while increasing your DPS output. You'll have infinite skip grenades, which are surprisingly not that bad, even in a GM, and overall your abilities are just going to add clear like there's no tomorrow. Now I've seen some good builds for the Arc Hunter this season that you can run in endgame PvE, but this is one build I truly never thought would be decent enough to use in endgame PvE. Now there are so many different ways that you can use this build and so many different mods and exotics that you can pair with it, so if you haven't got all the requirements to fully optimize the build, then I will go over a few alternatives so that you can still use it whilst playing endgame PvE, whether that's a Master Nightfall or even a GM. So guys, if you like this one, then be sure to leave a rating, comment, subscribe and share for more, and now let's first check out today's sponsor. Today we are sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Raid is one of the best RPG mobile games out there, and it's that time of the year to get spooky. What I like most about Raid is that it has a lot of variety. Raid has over 600 unique champions in the game, and what makes this so good is that you can really develop those champions you like most with cool artifacts, skills and abilities, upgrading their levels and a lot more. And then you can use those champions to progress further into harder battles. Another thing I like about Raid is the consistency of content and the amount of things you can do, especially with it being a free-to-play game. You have a ton of missions, quests, challenges, and if that's not enough, you also get updates on a regular basis. And right now, Raid is currently running an amazing Trick or Treat Halloween promotion where you can win real life and in-game prizes, which includes $1,000 Amazon gift cards, as well as some amazing epic and legendary Halloween champions. And the best part about it is that it's all free. All you have to do is download Raid with my link in the description, then head over to trickortreat.plarium.com, which is also linked in the description. Then by using your details and Raid player ID, you can spin the wheel and get your prize. This event runs until November 5th, and once it's over, it's over. So head on over to Raid, because Raid are also currently running a special promotion. So if you use my promo code DKRises, you'll be able to get a bunch of free items to instantly level any of your strongest champions to level 50. So this is the best time to get started in Raid, and by clicking my link in the description or scanning my QR code here on screen, you'll be getting unique bonuses worth $30. This includes a free epic champion, Rector Draft, 200,000 silver, 1 energy refill, 1 XP boost, and 1 ancient shard to help you get started in Raid. All this treasure will be waiting for you here, just click my link in the description to get started, and I'll see you in the game. Now firstly, as always, like every build video, if you do like this one and you want to see more like this, then you can view the full collection of builds in the playlist, which is linked down below, along with my Discord server. But with this one today, you'll be running around in endgame PvE, infinitely throwing skip grenades like you're some sort of grenade god, and honestly, I've used skip grenades before back in the day, and to me they weren't really ever worth using, but now that you can jolt enemies with those grenades, you can just throw down a skip grenade on a tough ad, and then punch them in the face and they are blinded just like that. So it's an easy way of infinitely blinding tough enemies that you want to fight, even if that's a Grandmaster Overload champion or whatever. Just keep them blinded and stunned while you take them down. But taking this into a solo Grandmaster Lightblade for example, you'll still have a good time with the build, assuming you don't get melted down instantly. All you have to do is throw skip grenades down to damage and ideally kill ads, pick up the well and then just repeat, and if you can get close enough you'll be able to blind things like champions too. It will be more difficult to use in a GM, but it will still work as intended. Now the way you'll actually use this build effectively in any activity is first run in and throw a skip grenade to get a kill, and then spawn an elemental well. Picking up this well will give you 2 stacks of charge of light, as well as ability energy. Then from here you'll just run around throwing infinite skip grenades whilst picking up the wells and ionic traces created. Now on the rare occasion you might not get your grenade back, that's because you probably didn't hit enough targets, but having every part of the grenade hit targets and killing them should get your grenade back instantly, assuming you're also charged with light and picking up the wells. If that isn't enough to recharge it, you will just chain between your melee and dodge ability, and while all this is going on with you chaining between all 3 abilities, you'll be getting your super back a lot faster as well, which is one of the best damaging supers in the game. So going over the setup of this build and starting with the loadout here, you can use anything you want, but if you're going into an activity where champions are present, or you got modifiers, then I'd adjust your loadout to suit the needs of that given activity. So for me, I'd be looking at running an Arbalist for anti-barriers, an Unstoppable Pulse Rifle, an Overload Bow, or even an anti-barrier Scout Rifle. And then of course the DPS heavy weapon of your choice. Good exotics to pair with this build if you aren't restricted by a loadout are firstly Bad Juju. This is if you want to get faster supers, or a Traveler's Chosen, that is if you want to guarantee infinite abilities one after another, and not have to worry at all about wasting grenades or having a bad throw. Otherwise, I thought a Risk Runner was nice too, but you can really just use anything you prefer. For the subclass, we are using a new Arc 3.0 Arcstrider with the new Gathering Storm super ability. one of the best supers for DPS in PvE. Then the dodge we have is a gambler's one so that we can recharge our melee when dodging near enemies. Then we'll have the combat flow as our melee ability, which on kills will fully recharge our dodge and restore health. So you can just chain between the dodge and melee, which means infinite melees and dodges. For the grenade, as we are a skip grenade build, you want to run these skip grenades. Then the aspects we have are lethal current. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased range, jolts the target, and creates a damaging aftershock. Then DPSing a jolted target with your melee attack will also blind them. In most activities, you'll insta-kill everything around you, but in harder content, it's a great way to blind a tough ad. So you just punch them twice, or use your grenade and then punch them. But the second aspect here is flow state. Defeating a jolted target makes you amplified, so he will get faster movement speed, but while amplified, your dodge recharges quicker. That doesn't really matter, but you are also more resilient while dodging. I mean, the alternative is Tempest Strike, but using this, you won't be able to chain between your abilities with the build setup that we currently have. Now the fragments we have are firstly Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants who are more resistant to incoming damage, we also get a plus 10 to the strength stat with that. Then Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace. Now those ionic traces created will give us ability energy, so that is another source of getting your grenades back quicker. Next we have Spark of Recharge. While critically wounded, your melee and grenade recharge faster. And then lastly Spark of Shock. Your arc grenades jolt targets. So we really are just running around jolting everything, and then in those harder activities where the grenade doesn't kill that enemy, you just punch them in the face and then they're blinded and then you're laughing. So the exotic armor that we are going to be using with this build today is going to be the Shinobu's Vow. No surprise, it improves skip grenades. Now this exotic will give you an additional skip grenade charge and skip grenades return energy when it damages a target. This paired with the mods that we're running is going to instantly and infinitely give you skip grenades most of the time, and 9 times out of 10 you can probably throw about 20 skip grenades down without having any issues one after another. But you don't actually want to do that, you mostly want to just throw down skip grenades every few seconds rather than spamming them until you eventually mess up somehow. Now your alternative exotic to use is Assassin's Cowl for more survivability, but I did make a build on this earlier this season, which you can find down in the playlist below. But using this one you won't get infinite skip grenades, but you'll still be able to get them quite often. If you want to go the DPS route instead with your melee, then you want to run the Liar's Handshake instead. You can use a Raiden Flux if you want to go with the Arcstrider Super, or even a Star Eater Scales if you want to go towards more of a DPS super build. If you want to go with a dedicated skip grenade build but don't have the exotic for it, a Frosties is going to be a replacement. Otherwise you can just ignore the skip grenade builds altogether and go with a Lucky Raspberry Arc Bolt grenade build instead. I might make a build on this at some point, so stay tuned if you want to see more chaos with Arc Hunters. Now moving into the mod setup, first up you want to run an elemental well generating mod. As we are a grenade build, elemental ordnance makes a good choice, but with infinite melee abilities you could also run the melee well maker instead. Just make sure you are generating an arc elemental well, even if that means you're using the overcharge well maker mod to finish ads, because the next mod we're going to be running is an elemental charge to become Charger Light. Now running this and picking up arc wells, you will get 2 stacks for 1 well. So if you get a grenade kill with elemental ordnance, you'll generate 1 well and become Charger Light twice. And then you'll use 1 charge when throwing your grenade and gain another for picking up that well. So it's just a loop of using that stack of Charger Light while gaining another one back. So that way we're always Charger Light, which is what you want. You can go with other mods if you want, like the Precision Charge or any mod that makes you Charger Light, and then use a stacks on stacks to get the second stack. You don't have to use wells, but I thought wells were more effective as you get extra ability energy anyway by just picking them up. Now the next mod you want is Firepower, but you want 3 of these on, so slot this into 3 pieces of solar armor, because this will give us grenade energy when we use it while Charger Light. And this paired with our Vow Exotic is what gives us infinite grenades. To benefit the build further with normal mods, we will run the Ashes to Assets in the helmet for extra super energy on grenade kills. Run this twice if you can. Then in the gauntlets we have Impact Induction, so we get more grenade energy when causing damage with our melee, alongside our champion mod. In the chest we have our damage resist mods that you'll want. Legs we have better already, and our scavenger mod for a heavy weapon. And then lastly in the class we have double bomber for reduced grenade cooldown when using your class ability, which we'll be doing all the time anyway when chaining between our melee and dodge. This isn't required since we have a lot of cooldowns with the grenade already, so you can use seasonal mods like the overload grenades and jolting champions. It's completely up to you what you want to run, but the build is universal, so it will work regardless of what season you're playing in, as it doesn't rely on seasonal mods to get ability energy. Using artifact mods will just improve the build further. I did try this season the Lightning Strikes Twice, but honestly I didn't feel that mod had a place with this build and was kind of a waste of mod energy. Now the last thing you do want to make sure you have though is 100 resilience with the build, as you are just going to get completely melted in endgame PvE. The discipline stat doesn't need to be high, but it does help if you get that to 100 as well. Now overall I do like this build a lot, and it's probably one of the most fun builds to use in PvE as an Arc Hunter this season, but taking this into a GM might be a little too much as you can die pretty quickly, but it does still work effectively. Personally I'd stick to using this build in Master difficulty content only rather than a GM, but if you want faster ad clearing with any PvE activity, then this is definitely a good build choice to start using in my opinion. So guys, that there is your new Hunter Arc ability build with infinite skip grenades and Destiny 2 Witch Queen Season of Plunder. Next, as always, remember to check out the playlist down below for more new, fun and updated builds like this for this season, as I do cover them every week here on the channel. But guys, for now as always, have a good one, go throw those skip grenades, and I'll see you all very soon for the next build video. Peace out guys.